Washington is no doubt sitting in the catbird seat in the National League East, although the last 3 times they've met up with the Phillies, it has been anything but a walk in the park. Division rivals remain competitive no matter how the standings look. And recently, the Phillies have had the upper hands. Check off winning the season series against the Nationals off the list of things to do in 2014 for the Phillies. Now they want to add one more thing to their list, finishing off another series sweep against Washington. It's a gorgeous day for baseball here at Nationals Park. The Phils and the Washington Nationals. Last 5 games, the Phillies have won all 5 against the Nationals. Numbers-wise, they've outscored them 27-18. There are a number of other categories where the Phillies have been dominant over Washington, but probably most dominant, the bullpen, a 2.40 ERA for the Phillies. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, along with Matt Stairs. This is game number 19 for the Phils against the Washington Nationals. And for Matt, game number 100 on the season. And the Phillies will give the baseball to Cole Hamels this afternoon, and they're looking for a series sweep again against the Nets.
Well, you're hoping that Cole Hamels comes into the game coming off 6 innings of no-hit baseball versus the Atlanta Braves and basically throwing fastballs. His last outing versus the Atlanta Braves, he had a hard time throwing his curveball for strikes. He had no command of his changeup. Him and Jimmy Rollins were having some laughs on the mound saying, I have nothing today with my off-speed pitch. That's why all of a sudden we heard him grunting a lot on the mound. He was throwing 95 miles an hour, throwing fastballs up in the zone, down the zone, and really overpowering the Atlanta Brave hitters throughout the game.
And then he gave way to the bullpen after 6 innings at 108 pitches, and the bullpen carried the mantle to the no-hit bid against the Atlanta Braves. All right, for Cole, before the break, 16 games, a 2.93 ERA. Win-loss record wasn't great. After the break, he's won 5 of the 6 decisions that he's picked up.
Well, and I think a lot has to do with his fastball. He was averaging about 92, 93 miles an hour. Now all of a sudden he's up to 95. He's hit 96 one time this year, and everyone knows that great changeup. But I think what happens is a lot of hitters on the scouting report versus Cole Hamels is that he enjoys throwing the changeup and curveball. They're sitting off speed, and that's why he's throwing a lot of fastballs, getting a lot of hitters swinging and missing or taking the strike 3.
All right, so for the second time this year, he'll take on Gio Gonzalez in the Washington Nationals. For Gonzalez, his 24th start of the year. Meanwhile, for Hamels, his 26th start of the season for the Phillies. We mentioned the bullpen. Well, the bullpen has really played a role in the 2 wins so far against the Nationals. Kenny Giles, lights out. And for Jonathan Papelbon, he's continued to put together a solid season as the Phillies closer. Lineups at first pitch from Washington when we return. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Citizens Bank, introducing One Deposit Checking. Keeping things simple is helping you bank better. By Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. By Toyota, where will Toyota take you? Visit buyatoyota.com to find out. Toyota, let's go places. By Coca-Cola, the official soft drink of the Phillies. And by Independence Blue Cross, the most preferred health plan in the region. Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. We're back here in Washington as the Phillies and the Nationals get set to wrap up this 3-game series. For the Phillies, it's the end of a long road trip before they head home to take on the Pirates beginning tomorrow night. It is a beautiful day for baseball, for football, whatever it is you're getting a chance to enjoy around the Delaware Valley. Let's take a look at the Phillies starting lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. It'll be Jimmy Rollins leading off at shortstop. Grady Sizemore bats second. Carlos Ruiz hits third, followed by Marlon Byrd and Darren Ruff. Michael Franco, the third baseman, bats sixth. In the bottom third of Galvis, Gwynn, and Cole Hamels. And they will face left-hander Gio Gonzalez. The 28-year-old has not had a particularly consistent season for the Nationals. 7-9 with a 3.89 earned run average. You look at those numbers, Matt, you think, boy, his record should be better than 7-9.
Yeah, it is. He's been having a hard time throwing strikes. He's been trying to nibble too much in the corners. Last outing in L.A., he pounded the strike zone better. And as you can see the scouting report, 92 to 94 mile an hour fastball. Curveball change, and versus the Phillies this year, he's 0-2 with a 4.76 ERA.
All right, well, he'll face a little different lineup for the Phillies this afternoon because Ben Revere is not in the lineup as a starter for the first time since the 26th of July. It's the old leadoff hitter, Jimmy Rollins, who's getting a chance to lead off here this afternoon. Rollins 9 for 33 on this road trip, and the first pitch of the day is taken outside, so we're underway. Bright sunshine. Temperatures will reach the low 80s here this afternoon at Nationals Park. Big storm came through last night. Swing and a miss. 1 ball and 1 strike. Right now the temperature is in the low 70s. So maybe it won't reach 80 for a little bit. Well, there you see the current temperature. High 70s. Rollins down the right field line. It's slicing out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Dolores Ramsdale of Langhorne. Phillies hit a home run in today's ball game, and Dolores will win $100. Rollins takes outside, 2-2. No big deal about Revere being off today. He's fine. He's just hasn't had an off day in a while. And Ryan Sandberg is trying to load up his lineup with as many right-handed hitters or switch hitters, in the case of Rollins, as he possibly can. Grady Sizemore, the on-deck hitter, is one of the lefties that he's utilizing today. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Rollins. Off the end of the bat, softly to shortstop. And Desmond throws out Rollins, who was hustling up the line the whole way. 7-pitch at bat, 1 away here in the first. And Matt, it's time now for our Nissan keys to today's ball game.
Well, first key today for me, very important. Gonzalez likes to nibble. Get him on the plate, which means he likes to throw the fastball just on the corner and off. So get him on the plate, and for Hamels to get a feel for his changeup early in the game.
Well, I think what you just said, we saw with Jimmy Rollins. The fact that Gonzalez was kind of nibbling toward the outside part of the plate. Grady Sizemore, one of 2 true left-handers in the lineup today. Well, I guess 3 if you count Cole Hamels. And he's in there because his numbers are very good against Gio Gonzalez and against the Nationals this year. Hitting .292 as a Philly, 3 home runs, 12 runs batted in. And that's a foul ball that's going to be kind of costly for a photographer. Hit toward the camera well, and I think it got a piece of one of those lenses he has. 1 ball, 1 strike to Sizemore. And Sizemore loops it back towards second into center field, a base hit. A 1-out single. And that'll bring Carlos Ruiz to the plate.
That would have been awesome if that photographer was taking the picture right when the ball was coming at him.
Would have been a great photo.
Great 3D picture.
Although, you know what? Maybe he did get the angle toward it.
There it is right there where the ball hit it. I would say he did not get a picture of it.
he's rather composed for as costly a foul ball that might be. He's rolling the numbers through his head right now. Ruiz takes outside, 1-0.
And that's the fastball right there we talk about. He starts it on the other third, tries to get the run off the plate and get you to fish for it and hit the weak ground ball. So get him on the plate. It's a must.
Fly ball, shallow right center. And Jason Worth puts it away. You could also, if you choose to, and I don't know if Sizemore is going to choose to do this, you can run against Gio Gonzalez if you pick the spot. Lefties a lot of times force base runners to kind of go back a little bit. But Gonzalez still has that leg kick when he comes to the plate. Here's Marlon Byrd, who took yesterday off. He's 0 for his last 17. His average of .263 with 25 home runs, 78 runs batted in. And he fouls the first pitch back. It's 0-1. Marlon was 0 for 5 in game 1 of this series. Phillies won that ball game in extra innings yesterday. Just a crisply played ball game by the Phils. A.J. Burnett got the win. High, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike to Bird. I should say 1 ball, 1 strike to Bird.
And the way they have the defensive alignment with Desmond playing slight pull, if Grady Sizemore decides to go and gets picked off, that's where Cabrera will slide in, and it makes it a difficult throw for Adam LaRoche to second base.
That one's lined out toward left center field. Span won't get it. He'll take it on a hop. Sizemore on his way to third. The throw by Span offline. He gets away from Rendon. And Sizemore's heading home. There's going to be a play at the plate. And it hits Sizemore and goes into the Nationals dugout. 1 run is in. 2 runs are in. Bird will be able to score, I believe. And now the umpires are conferring to ask where Bird was on that particular throw. It's at least 1-0 Phillies, and they'll say he's back at third base. So errors all over the place for the Nationals on a base hit by Marlon Byrd. And the Phillies lead it 1-0, and they have a runner over at third base. I do believe you have to score an error to Span to allow Byrd to go to second, and then the error to Rendon to allow Bird to go to third. But we'll wait and see what the official scorer says.
Now, is this a reviewable play to see where the runners are?
Well, they can do that. They can look and see where the runners are. Now, Mike Everett's going to talk one more time with the umpires. All right, so Span's throw wide. He fell down as he threw it. Gets away from Rendon.
Rendon's thrown right there.
Yeah, Marlins passed second base at that point. That's when it went into the dugout, but it's when the throw is made. That's when the decision is. This is an old-fashioned conference right now. There's no replay involved. This is an old-fashioned conference.
A lot of head shaking up and down.
Yeah,
no.
Adrian Johnson is in agreement with whatever the second base umpire, excuse me, first base umpire Chad Fairchild is saying. And he's nodding yes. All right, so Marlon Byrd was right here, we're told, when the ball was thrown by Rendon. All right, so they're going to keep him at third, and now they're going to go and look at it. So they can look at the overhead shot to see. Yeah, they're going to see where Marlon Byrd, they're going to confer where Marlon Byrd was.
So if he's around second base heading to third, and the throw goes into the dugout or out of bounds.
By the position player, I believe it's.
Is it a two-base error?
I believe he gets an extra base. Now we'll look at the rule. Remember, we had this the other day against the St. Louis Cardinals. All right, so they're going to point to third, and that's where he's going to be. Now, Ryan Sandberg will just get an explanation on it. Now, this is a crew chief review. I don't think Ryan Sandberg is comfortable with the explanation. Well, here we go. This is the throw from the outfielder right there. Gets away from Rendon. Rendon picks it up and throws. And Byrd was, I guess they say, at second base. It looked like he slipped past the base. The position of the batter runner, which is Byrd, at the time of the wild throw, left the thrower's hand, is the key in deciding to award the bases. That's rule 7.05. The term when the wild throw was made means when the throw actually left the player's hand and not when the thrown ball hit the ground or passes into the dugout or into the stands. So it's one base if a ball goes into the dugout from a fielder. Darren Ruff fouls it back. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. So if they're saying that Byrd was at second base when that throw was made, then that is the right call. 2 errors, though, on that play for the Nationals. 1 to Span, 1 to Rendon. Low, ball 3, 3-1. Ruff slams it out towards center, but Span is able to run it down. He hit it well, but the side is retired. 1 run is in for the Phils on 2 base hits, 1 man left. We'll go to the bottom of the first. The Phillies have the early lead. Taking a 1-0 lead over Matt Williams' Nationals. Let's take a look at the Nationals starting lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Denard Span leads it off at center, then Anthony Rendon and Jason Worth. Adam LaRoche, the first baseman, bats cleanup. Ian Desmond hits 5th. Scott Hairston will bat 6th. At the bottom third of Asdrubal Cabrera, Jose Lobaton, and Gio Gonzalez. And they'll face left-hander Cole Hamels. Hamels 8-6 with an ERA of 2.50. 165 strikeouts in just under 170 innings of work.
And he's coming off of the Atlanta Braves, where basically he had control of one pitch, and that was his fastball. Mixing the fastball up in the zone. As you can see the scouting report right here, 90 to 95 mile an hour fastball, change-up curve, and a very good record versus the Washington Nationals. 15-7 with a 2.58 ERA.
So he'll go to work against Denard Span. Span 302 with 4 homers and 32 runs batted in. Span in the series 5 for 8 with a walk and 2 runs scored. Outside, and it's 2 balls and no strikes. There's one on the outside part of the plate, so 2-1. It is going to be interesting to see how Cole is today off his last start. As you said in the open, he and Jimmy Rollins were having a conversation where he said, I don't have my secondary pitches here today. Basically, that's what he said.
They're saying he didn't have the feel for the curveball or the changeup, especially the curveball. He only threw like 6 curveballs the whole game.
It's a grounder foul right at the plate.
And I also think it's a key for Cole is to bear down versus the left-handers. Last game versus the Atlanta Braves, he walked the left-handed hitters 5 times in that game.
And you can just see by his body language the other day that he was fighting it, but he still went through 6 without allowing a hit. Two pitch. Outside, 3-2. It'll be Span, Rendon, Jason Worth. The Nationals were kind of late to get their lineup in today. And it might be that they were waiting for some of their veteran players to figure out whether they could play or not. And a foul tip, strikeout number 1. So 1 away here in the first. During the 2014 season, Turkey Hill, the official ice cream of the Phillies, will contribute $100 for each Phillies victory and 5 cents for each carton of Phillies Grand Slam ice cream, sold to support the Phillies youth baseball and softball programs. Here's Anthony Rendon, 279 with 18 homers and 76 runs batted in. And he takes a strike. It's 0-1. Inside. Well, he's right around the strike zone here today. There may be a couple pitches that are off, but those last 2 are right around the strike zone. So 2 balls and 1 strike. The home plate umpire is Tom Woodring. 2-1 pitch. And they want an appeal. No swing, says Chad Fairchild. 3-1. Rendon has scored 3 runs and driven in 3 runs in this series. He has 17 RBIs overall against the Phillies. And that one's out toward left field. Sizemore coming on. He dives and he makes the catch. That ball hung up there just enough for Grady Sizemore. 2 outs here in the first. goodness, that had a little air on it.
Yeah, and the nice play about this is that he recognized that he hit it off the end of the bat, had a great jump coming in, and makes a very nice diving catch. But the key is that he did not freeze. He realized the ball was hit off the end, and like you said, Tom, the ball hung up in the air just long enough for him to get there and make a nice diving catch.
So 2 outs, and Jason Worth will be the batter. Worth 3 for 10 in the series. Takes outside. It's 1-0. Jason, 288 with 16 home runs, 77 runs batted in. He has 5 hits in his career against Cole Hamels. So his numbers aren't that good, or haven't been that good, against the last 2 pitchers for the Phils. 1 ball and 1 strike. Little out in front, and it's 1-2. That's the pitch that Hamels really does need to be effective. Now, the other day he didn't need it. He threw it. What was it, Matt? 38% of the time he threw change, or 28% of the time threw changeups.
Yeah, last game he threw, I think it was like 24% off speed.
Now he didn't have that pitch at all. The curveball, which he just threw to Worth, that he just bashed off his foot.
Yeah, I believe last outing we broke it down to where his fastball cutter he threw 82 pitches, and his curveball and his changeup he threw 26 pitches throughout the game.
They're going to give Worth a little extra time. And a foul ball. It remains 1-2. And a called strike 3. 2 strikeouts of the inning. I think Worth knew that one. He was just fooled by the pitch from Cole Hamels. No runs, no hits, nobody left. It's a 1-2-3 bottom of the first for Hamels. We'll go to the second here in D.C. The Phillies up 1-0. Lead at 1-0 as we go to the top of the second. And Maikel Franco will lead it off. He'll take outside. 1 ball and no strikes. Franco he played a part in the win the other night in extra innings. He's 1 for 8. He picked up his first major league hit in that game. But probably his key at bat was just making contact late in the game to drive in the eventual go-ahead run in extra innings.
And how he put that ball in play, I do not know. It was a jump swing. Off-speed pitch that started right at him. He kind of jumped backwards and stayed inside it and tapped it to first.
And he took a huge, huge swing, but it went, what would you say, about 70 feet?
Yeah.
Fouls it away. It's 2-2. Scored Dominic Brown. Brown was coming on contact and was able to score what turned out to be the go-ahead run. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Franco. Outside and low, 3-2. Franco sends one in the air to left center field. Hairston and Span converge, and Hairston makes the call and the catch. One out. Freddie Galvis is coming up. Let's check in with Greg Murphy. Murph?
All right, guys. Well, I don't know about you, but when we arrived at the ballpark today in my Phillies golf shirt, I got the distinct feeling that folks around here in D.C. would be happy when we left. And I'm trying not to take it personally, but you got to believe that that's exactly how the Nationals team feels with these Philadelphia Phillies. This will be the last game the Phils and the Nats play against one another. But since July 1st, the Nats are 7-2. Or excuse me, 2-7 versus the Phillies, and 19-7 versus everybody else in baseball. So they have really struggled of late with the Philadelphia Phillies. So you can imagine that watching them leave town today will be a good thing for the Nationals. Obviously, they're still 6 games clear in the East, but you know, it's starting to get a little tighter, and we'll be happy to see them leave.
Well, and they're welcoming in the Atlanta Braves. So
that's right.
There may be even a little doubt creeping into their mind when the Braves come to town for this 3-game series. Off this series against the Phillies as Desmond throws out Galvis. Well, it's kind of what we said the other day, guys. You know, over the last 20 games, 30 games, the Phillies record has been right in the mix, behind the Nationals, obviously, but in the mix or ahead of most of the other teams in the National League East. Here's the season series. The Phillies trying to get to the 500 mark against the Nationals here. And they've already won the season series, 10 wins over whether it could be either 11 wins or it could be 10 wins over 9 losses, depending on the outcome today. They've out-homered the Nationals. Well, here's Tony Gwynn Jr. back in the big leagues, getting a chance to start here this afternoon for the Phils. As a starter for the Phillies, Gwynn's numbers much better than overall as a pinch hitter. Hitting .228 as a starter. Down in AAA, he hit .290 during his brief time where he was able to get some ABs, which was so important. Phillies designated him for assignment back on the 27th. And then he wound up going to Lehigh Valley, signing a contract with the Iron Pigs early in August. He lines out softly to third, and the Phillies go down in order here in the second. To the bottom of the second, with the Phillies on top 1-0. bases. They've been covering the Eagles collectively for, let's see, 35, 40, over 40 years. Well, beginning tomorrow, they will serve up their extensive football knowledge 5 nights a week. Don't miss the premiere of Quick Slants, Monday at 6, only on Comcast Sportsnet. Now, based on the first half of the Eagles-Jaguars game, they could probably do a whole show on that first half. Hopefully the Eagles will be able to figure it out as the game moves on. We'll go to the bottom of the second. And Adam LaRoche will lead things off. LaRoche 1 for 5 in the series with 3 runs batted in. Overall hitting .259, 21 home runs, 78 RBIs. And he hits that one toward right. It's deep. Bird going back toward the fence. It is gone. And we're tied up at 1. Second home run of the series for LaRoche. Well, we wondered if he would have a stiff back today. Not so much. He's in the lineup. And he has just squared this ball game up. That is the 12th home run allowed by Cole Hamels.
You see Adam being very aggressive, getting the fastball down the zone inner half. Gets extended and drives the ball to right field. And we know that Adam LaRoche is a very aggressive hitter versus left-hander, especially off the fastball.
Well, now here's Ian Desmond, who's 2 for 8 this series. And Desmond takes a little high. Desmond has 9 hits and 47 at-bats against Cole Hamels. Fastball outside. LaRoche has been, for these last few years, an excellent pickup for the Nationals. Out toward right center field. It's deep too. Gwynn, sunglasses on, shading his eyes from the sun. He can't see it. It bounces next to him. Desmond turns second and holds up there. That'll be a sun-splashed double for Ian Desmond.
You can see right there he's shading his eyes, and right there he loses it. He's trying to, hopefully it comes out of the sun. But it bounces about 6 feet behind him, and unfortunately couldn't find it.
Well, Matt, you've been out there and you've played the outfield days like this. I would think that it's a lonely feeling when something like that happens.
It is, and there's no cloud coverage. There's the high sky. The easiest, I guess, the thing you want to do is get to the position as quick as you can, and then just battle and try to fight the sun, and hopefully you're underneath it.
Well, now Hairston, and Hairston takes inside. It's 1-0. So each team with 2 hits, each team with 1 run. The Nationals have a runner in scoring position with nobody out here in the bottom of the second. Out toward left field. Sizemore on the track and is able to make the catch as he runs into the wall. They hit 3 balls pretty far here in the second inning. Runner does not advance. And there's 1 away.
The last 3 balls have been hit hard, have been in the middle of the plate. And Grady Sizemore does a nice job going to his right, staying with it. Like you said, banging into the ball, but keeping the concentration in there. Getting the ball in quick, not allowing Ian Desmond to get to third base.
Yeah, Desmond was unsure of what he should do. He was off a few steps on that play. Actually, it was closer to halfway, which is what he's supposed to do in that spot. So now is Drupal Cabrera. Cabrera, 2 for 9 lifetime against Hamels. Switch hitter, batting right-handed. And a swing and a miss. It's 0-1.
And that's the pitch right there, I think, is a key for Cole today, is using that 2-seamer. And not just for today, but the remainder of the year. Everyone thinks he's going to be throwing that cutter, and he struck out Jason Worth in the first inning with a front door sinker.
to right field. And Bird will settle under it. Desmond can tag if he chooses to. And he's on his way to third. So he's there with 2 outs. Remarkable how far these the 2 outs and the 2 balls that have been put in play have gone for the Nationals. Now here's Lobaton. Lobaton hitting .233 with a couple home runs, 12 runs batted in. Back toward the middle, off the glove of Hamels, and then he picks it up before he slips off the back of the mound. 1 run on the home run by LaRoche, but that's it. Good job by Hamels to work around the double by Desmond. We'll go to the third in a 1-1 game. Go to the fans section for all the information. Please submit your answer on the subject line. All right, Matt, here's the question. Who hit the Nationals' first ever inside the park home run? Answer will be revealed a little later on. It was back in 2007, so I'll give you a little bit of a timeline of which player it might have been based on that season. I will tell you that this is not the player that would jump to the forefront of your mind when you think about inside the park home runs. Because I think you would have to think about speed and.
So it's not Dimitri Young.
Well, he wouldn't jump into my mind. But no, it's not Dimitri Young. Cole Hamels leads it off here in the third. Hamels hitting .173. Phillies and the Nationals tied at 1. Phillies got a run in the first. They thought they would get a second one based on an errant throw by Anthony Rendon. Inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Mike Everett, who's the third base umpire who eventually made the play or made the call on that throw by Rendon as to whether Bird warranted an extra base or not, is a pretty forward guy. If you have a question, he's always there to answer it. Talked to him for a while yesterday on one of the plays that took place in game 1 of this series. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, he has had a conversation since that play
with everybody,
even the fans, I think.
Yeah, he's talked to Matt Williams, Ryan Sandberg twice, Adrian Johnson, the second base umpire,
Jimmy Rollins,
and Hamels is down looking as Gio paints on the outside part of the plate. Well, the upcoming homestand will include 3 games against the Miami Marlins next weekend. On Friday, it's Cabrini College Knit Hat Night. And that hat is free to fans 15 and older. Tickets can be purchased by going to Phillies.com for those 3 games. 1 down. Rollins is up. He grounded to shortstop his first time up. Now Gio has not been nibbling these last 2 innings. He's throwing strikes. Gio was a one-time Philly, played for the Reading Phillies at the time. Now the Reading Titans. In 2006, he was 7-12 for Reading with an ERA of 4.66. Phillies acquired him from the White Sox and then traded him back to the White Sox, who then traded him to the A's, where he became an established big league pitcher. And the A's, who ironically at the time weren't in a position to win, traded him to Washington. Rollins hits it out to Cabrera, who had him played perfectly. Two outs. Grady Sizemore is up. Sizemore singled and scored his first time. Hamels. Hamels was working on that hand after that ball hit him back in the box. Hope that's not stiffening up on him at all. 1, 2, 3 go the Phils. We'll go to the bottom of the 3rd. It's a 1-1 game. By McDonald's. Any size hot or iced coffee is just $1. McDonald's, I'm loving it. By the Pennsylvania Lottery, benefits older Pennsylvanians every day. And by Dodge, visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. You know, when you have a play like we had in the first inning, there's always conferencing up here in the press box too. You know, just to make sure that you have the rules right and the understanding of, or at least the interpretation of what the umpire is thinking without even talking to the umpire. As Gio Gonzalez takes a strike, it's 0-1. We all understood the rule that it depended on where Marlon Byrd was when the ball was released by Anthony Rendon. If he had been at the second base bag or beyond, then he should have been awarded 2 bases, which is what we had said. Yeah, we synced it up. It looked like he was either just arriving at second base and then tripped, or was at second base. But I say that because Scott Fransky and I have been talking about it. FP Santangelo, who is the color commentator for the Nationals, just came in and said that they thought that Bird should have been awarded 2 bases on it. But we can only go by what the crew chief says, and without chatting with the crew chief, this is where we'd like to have a microphone down on the field with the crew chief and say, hey, what were you thinking on that play? We could just assume that he didn't think, and none of the umpires thought that Bird was at second base yet.
Yeah, but you'd think they would get it right because they went back and watched the replay of where the runners were.
Yeah. Denard Span takes outside, but as we've probably seen this year, because we've seen replay so much, that it's probably not as conclusive all the time as we would like. That was such a close play. I mean, it was really a close play in that term. Span shows bunt, takes a strike, 1-1. Hey, think about it, Matt. If Bird had gotten there a fraction of the second earlier and had stumbled, there wouldn't have been any question.
Correct.
1 ball, 1 strike to Span. And it's low, 2-1. That was a cutter on the outside corner. 2-2. It's like the gum is taking the brunt of that frustration from Denard Span. He thought that pitch was outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Slaps it foul to the third base side, and out of play. It remains 2-2.
That's the best fastball of the day by Cole Hamels at 95. Good location.
Hamels not distracted by the barking in the background. There's a line drive to right field, and Marlon Byrd will make the catch. 2 outs. We'll take a look at our Mazda leaders, and Cole Hamels, you would expect, is the leader or among the leaders in a number of categories. As far as the Phillies' career leaders in games started, he's at 270, and that's 5th all time. That is some short list to be on if you're Cole Hamels. Lefty and Robin Roberts, hard throwing Chris Short, Grover Cleveland Alexander. Here's Anthony Rendon, and it's outside, 1 ball and no strikes. Rendon fly to left his first time up. Outstanding play by Sizemore. To center field, it'll drop in front of Gwynn, and a 1-out single for Rendon. Matt, that wasn't a 2-strike pitch right there by Hamels, but I've been impressed with Rendon during the season series on a number of fronts. The power for a guy his size, but also his ability to not get flustered when he's down in the count. He goes right after a pitch, even if it's 2 strikes. He's not at all bothered by it.
Well, and I think the reason why is because he's been able to hit the ball to left field for power, straightaway center for power, and right center for power as well. And he's just one of those. He's a spray hitter. He hits the ball where it's pitched. He doesn't try to pull outside pitches. he stays within himself, usually 90% of the time.
I think Jason Worth is making fun of Cole Hamels right now.
He's trying to get the umpire to move.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Umpire wasn't moving.
No.
See, I told you, Matt. They don't always have to move. It's odd when they don't, but they don't always have to move. One ball, no strikes. Worth was struck out looking his first time up. One of 3 strikeouts today for Hamels. Late on that pitch. It's 1-2. Looked like it slipped right out of his hand, and now the runner will be off from first with the count 3-2. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 3rd. Rendon goes. Swing and a miss, and Worth is struck out for the 2nd time today. 4 strikeouts for Hamels. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. 3 in the books on a beautiful day for baseball here in D.C. Philadelphians Avery weatherproof labels from WB Mason are built to withstand the extreme elements. Trust Avery labels with your most essential shipments. Who but WB Mason? Well, we've completed our first 3. We've got a pretty good pitcher's duel going between Gio Gonzalez, the 28-year-old left-hander, and Cole Hamels, the 30-year-old left-hander. Actually, what a day it was. What a day it is today weather-wise. Boy, the temperature has probably flipped about 15 to 20 degrees today on the cooler side compared to yesterday. There were some pretty impressive storms that rolled through Washington, D.C. last night. Lightning flashing all around the monuments. Carlos takes off the outside corner. It's 1-0. Carlos fly to right his first time up. Out towards shallow center, and Span stands his ground. I don't think he saw it. He doesn't see it. It drops in front of him. He throws to second from his knees, and Ruiz is safe. So the Phillies have one misjudged double. The Nationals have one misjudged double. And I guess it's more than a misjudge. It's Mother Nature just wreaking havoc.
You see, he's having trouble right here, but he decides not to put the glove up to try to block the sun. You know, in that situation, a ball hit right at you and the sun's directly above you, you turn your body and you know where the ball is coming down, or you're hoping to know where it's coming down, and you just get over about 4 or 5 feet. It takes the sun away from the ball, and as you can see, Chooch thinking the whole way, come to the box and good hustle and get the double.
Yeah, I think these two plays now to center field are a clear indication that you can't take anything for granted that's hit out in the outfield. Now, I don't know if it's just center field, because Worth hasn't seemed to have problems. Bird hasn't had any problems.
Yeah, it's a center field right over top of. Well, it's just above us. That's how high we are.
just above us. 1 ball and no strikes to Bird, and he fouls it back. It's 1-1.
Because what I mean by is if the ball's coming down out of the sun, it's directly above you. If you go 4 or 5 steps to your left or to your right, the ball is not going to be in the sun anymore.
Okay.
Then you can make the adjustment by going to your right or to your left of catching the ball. But as soon as that ball gets caught in the sun,
right at you.
Right, get out of the sun, and then make the adjustment coming back in to get it.
Breaking ball, and it's 1-2 to Bird. It's almost like Tony Gwynn Jr. tried to do that when he wasn't directly in front of the ball, although I don't know if he planned that.
Right.
Whereas Span, I think, saw it initially and then lost it.
It's a bad feeling, and it happens to almost all outfielders.
One ball and 2 strikes to Bird, trying to get the runner over to third. And Marlin fouls it over the dugout. Jason Worth had one of those balls out in Dodger Stadium on the last series. I mean, he's lucky he didn't get a hit. Didn't hit him right in the head.
That's why I like the old-fashioned, what they call gargoyles.
Gargoyles.
The flip downs, because they were darker.
He pulls that one into left field, a base hit. Ruiz will stop at third. Hairston doesn't have the greatest arm, but the little hesitation certainly helps. And now Marlon Bird is 2 for 2 today, after going 0 for his last 17. Well, it's time now for our Geico quote of the day, and this one comes from the Phil skipper about the Phil's recent success. This is about creating some momentum 2.5 weeks ago and building on that and continuing to build on that. It's about character, about pride, and it's all there in the locker room. It's a man who's a Hall of Famer, and he says he sets out every day to win. He knows that there's development at this point in the season with all the extra players, but he wakes up every day and he wants to win that ball game. One ball, no strikes to Ruff, who flied to center his first time up. This one's out toward right field. Worth going back. It's going to be deep enough to score Ruiz, and Worth makes the catch on the edge of the track. Bird's going to try for second. He'll get there as Ruiz crosses the plate. It's a 2-1 ball game. Sac fly for Darren Ruff, RBI number 7. It's a good run for the Phillies to get, and they may not be done thanks to Marlon Bird getting into scoring position.
Well, very heads up piece of running right there, realizing that Jason Worth is going back on the ball, and he doesn't get a chance to get behind the ball and get a strong throw. When he sees that, goes back to first base, tags and makes it to second base very easily.
So now here's Franco. Franco flied out to left his first time up. 1 ball and 1 strike. Will he ever adjust to this big swing, Matt? Or do you think this is his swing?
I think he'll adjust. I think he's going to have a big swing throughout his career.
Now the right field line, Worth on the run over toward foul territory, makes the catch. Bird will tag. Yeah, they'll go to third.
But I think it's a time where you need to pick your areas to take that big swing and realize when you need to cut back a little bit. Like the other day with the weak ground ball to first base, he put the ball on play. He doesn't swing and miss a lot. He's an aggressive hitter, and you never want to take the aggressive swing away from a young player.
And like a lot of things, I guess you got to let him figure it out on his own too.
And playing time will tell you towards how he's going to do, how he's going to be pitched, if he's going to get changeup, if he's going to get fastball. To me, it looks like he's a guy that can hit a ball inside because he has that big swing and he pulls off just a hair.
Here's Freddie Galvis. He grounded to shortstop his only time up. Runner at third, 2 outs. He takes low. It's 1-0. Only 1 wild pitch this year for Gio Gonzalez. If you're wondering about that with a runner over at third, there's Bird. Galvis kind of jumped at that pitch. It may have been ball 2. It's 1-1. It's now time for you to tweet your photo using hashtag PhillyFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast. It's brought to you by AT&T. Outside, 2-1. Galvis playing second base today for Chase Utley. Chase has got a totally new look going on in the dugout. He's got his pants pulled up high, showing a lot of his socks. Oof. 3-2. Ball jumped into the crowd. I mean, big time. It hit a gentleman about 6 or 7 rows back. Three balls, 2 strikes to Galvis. And Galvis pops it up. Rendon and Desmond. Desmond calls it and makes the catch. Phillies do get a run, a misjudged fly ball, and then eventually a sac fly by Darren Ruff gives the Phillies a 2-1 lead. by the Quality Plus Ford stores. Go further. By Thomas Jefferson University Hospitals. Call 1-800-JEFF now for an appointment. And by W.B. Mason. You can't go wrong when you buy right. Home half of the fourth inning. The Phillies up 2-1. So Cole Hamels has the lead again. And he'll face Adam LaRoche and Desmond and Scott Hairston. Bark at the Park today here at Nationals Park. Second time the Phillies have been here when they've done that.
Little Puggle enjoying the game today.
Yeah. There's Matt knowing his species.
I have one.
You've got like 10 of them. Got all kinds of dogs. Adam LaRoche homered his last time up. First pitch is outside. It's 1-0. This is the first time that we've been at a ballpark where they've done the Bark at the Park, where our crowd mic has been able to pick up the actual barking by the dogs. You can hear it from time to time. One ball, one strike to Adam LaRoche. It's like some form of a golden doodle. A selfie with the golden doodle. Oh man, out toward right center field. That ball is crushed. And we're tied at 2. And Cole Hamels has given up 2 solo home runs today to Adam LaRoche. And in the second, one here in the fourth. Man's on a home run binge lately.
He's been swinging the ball well. He's having good swings, even his foul balls that he was hitting has been good swings. We saw it last night with the third deck foul ball, but this is a fastball supposed to be away and came back almost the exact same spot for the home run.
Yeah, he's been battling the flu over the last couple of days. In fact, that's the reason we came to find out that he left game 1 of this series. Second 2-home run game of the season for LaRoche. And Desmond's the batter. He doubled his last time up. And it's no balls and 2 strikes. I think that second one was over 400 feet. There's the fan that caught that ball. The fan, the young lady, and the dog at their feet. Off the end of the bat foul, and it remains 1-2 to Desmond. Rollins will wait for this one at shortstop and then hurries the throw in time to get Desmond. And what a way for Hairston. Hairston flied to left his first time up. Well, we talked about it the other day. Jimmy Rollins has got a consecutive errorless streak rolling. In fact, today Murph is 57 games in a row without an error, if he can get through it. And he's made every play this year. He may not have the same range, but he is still sure-handed.
Yeah, the last time he's had an error, Tom, June the 29th. So it has been a really good run for Jimmy Rollins. But, you know, and that's to be expected, really, when you think about his career and how well he has played the position as shortstop. But Ryan Sandberg was talking about it before the game the other day. He said, you know, when he came into spring training this year, Jimmy took a real special interest in trying to improve at shortstop at that position. Even this late in his career, he said that he worked very hard on his arm strength in order to make the throws in the hole. And he's also playing a little bit different positionally. Like, he's setting himself up a little bit differently than he had earlier in his career when he had a little bit more range. He's, taking each batter and thinking about his tendencies and putting himself in better positions to make plays. And as we've seen, he continues to make the plays out at shortstop as well as anybody really in the National League.
Yeah, this is the longest stretch without an error, as we mentioned the other day, for Rollins since 2011 when he went 68 consecutive games. Now that's in season. He's had spurts that have carried over from season to season, like back end of a year to the first part of the next year.
What I'm very impressed with is his footwork, and as I got a frog jump right in my throat, but it is his feet work and his very strong throwing ability still going across the infield.
Yeah, it's all part of what Murph was saying about, even at his age, just improving the arm strength or even fine-tuning the arm strength.
See, I was talking about how good of a shortstop he is, and I got choked up right there.
It's a very emotional game, man.
It is.
Oh, 2 outs, and here's his dribble, Cabrera. Cabrera flied out to right his first time up, so he's 0 for 1. We're tied at 2 here in the 4th inning. The Phillies and the Nationals. Really fooled him on that pitch. It's 2-2. Top of the 5th inning, the Phillies will have Gwynn leading it off. It'll be Gwynn, Hamels, and then the top of the order. Phillies led it 1-0. The Nationals tied it up in the bottom of the 2nd. Phillies retook the lead at the top of the 4th. The Nationals have tied it here in the bottom of the 4th. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and now time is called. Swing and a miss. He picks up his 6th strikeout of the afternoon, but the Nationals tie it up on Adam LaRoche's 2nd home run of the day. It's the 24th time in his big league career he has had more than 1 home run in a game. So we're even at 2 as we go to the 5th here at DC. For the Jeep Stump the Fans trivia quiz answer. All right, Matt, here we go. Who hit the Nationals' first ever inside the park home run?
He was a right-handed hitter. He played for the Cincinnati Reds at one time.
Yeah.
Plays left field, right field, and I cannot think of his name. Unbelievable.
Well, I mentioned that he's not the first guy that would come to the forefront of your mind. It is Austin Kearns. May 12, 2007. Log back on to Phillies.com to find out if you're the winner of a Phillies prize pack. Here's Tony Gwynn Jr. to lead it off. Trying to see if Austin Kearns had more than one inside the park home run. It was a 3-run inside the park home run. A 3-run inside the park home run. Wow.
I witnessed Prince Fielder with an inside the park home run in Milwaukee.
Oh, I remember seeing that.
Down the right field corner.
Oh, yeah. No balls, 2 strikes to Gwynn. And he fouls it. How about this? Austin Kearns did have another inside the park home run. It was in spring training. It was down in Port Charlotte against the Tampa Bay Rays. It was part of the Miami Marlins at the time. Outside, 1-2 to Gwynn. I may have asked you this before. Have you ever had it inside the park home run?
No chance.
If you could have just seen the look I just got. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball, it's 2-2. I thought maybe earlier in your career.
No, I had a stand-up double once.
Nice. Prince Fielder had it inside the park home run. It's not out of the realm of possibility that you had one. When fouls it past Juan Samuel. I'm giving you too much credit, aren't I?
Yeah, that's all right. I don't mind it. The reason why Prince Fielder had an inside the park home run was because the ball was caught under the fence in right field, and Alex Rios went for it, put his hands up, went for it, put his hands up. Eventually went for it again. He was already almost at home plate.
Way outside on the fastball. It's 3-2 to Gwynn.
So whenever a ball gets lodged underneath the fence, you put your hands up automatically, and it's a grand rule double.
Yeah, don't reach in.
No.
Gwynn pops it foul just past the Phillies dugout and out of play. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Tony Gwynn Jr. He lined out softly to third. Out toward right center field. Here comes Worth, and did he catch it? He did. Well, I thought that ball squirted out of his glove, but he was able to hang on. And Tony Gwynn Jr. is retired for the first out. Nice play by Jason Worth. Always has been a solid outfielder.
He gets this ball because he plays so shallow. It's a nice jump. We've seen it many years of doing this, and it's a nice backhand catch.
Yeah, and he did hang on. It was a little bit of a snow cone toward the end, but he did hang on as he rolled. Now Cole Hamels will be the hitter, and Hamels takes a strike. It's 0-1. Hamels struck out looking his first time up. Normally Cole's pretty aggressive during his at-bats. Not so much in these 2 at-bats. I think his hand was still stinging him his last time up. That's why he just held the bat. 2 balls and 2 strikes as he takes on the outside corner. Hamels down looking for the second time. Now the final home games of the 2014 regular season against the Atlanta Braves begin on Friday, September 26th, and wrap up on Sunday, the 28th. It's Fan Appreciation Day. Tickets can be purchased for all 3 games of that series by going to Phillies.com. 2 outs. Jimmy Rollins 0 for 2. He's grounded out twice. Once to short, once to second. Rollins batting leadoff, where he has played baseball. This is the spot where he's played more games than any other spot in the lineup during his career. Outside, 1-2. Rolls over it onto third. Rendon is up with it, and the Phillies are retired in order. Third time today, the Phillies have gone down 1-2-3. They've played 4.5. We'll go to the bottom of the 5th inning. 8-9-1, 2 up for the Nationals. Brought to you by Citizens Bank. Over the past 11 years, the Citizens Bank Champions in Action program has recognized 34 organizations across the greater Philadelphia region for their contribution to their communities. Congratulations to our latest champion, Philadelphia Futures. To learn more about rebuilding together, visit citizensbank.com/community. Good banking is simple, clear, and personal, and that's helping you bank better. Citizens Bank, good banking is good citizenship. Well, folks are enjoying a day at the ballpark with man's best friend. It's a Bark in the Park day here in Washington. Phillies and the Nationals tied at 2. Jose Lobaton takes a rip at the first pitch from Hamels. And it's 0-1. Hamels has struck out 6 so far. He has 171 strikeouts on the season. 1,680 for his career. And Lobaton sails one into center for a base hit. A leadoff single, and it means Gonzalez can get up there to try to sacrifice him into scoring position. Leo Gonzalez struck out his first time up. Gio bunts it foul, and it's 0-1. By the way, Matt, we've got to send birthday wishes out today. We have 2 birthdays to wish today. The first one, and these are 2 great men who have had a great influence on the sports world in Philadelphia. The first one is the great Bill Campbell, celebrating his 91st birthday, as Ruiz is able to get the ball to Rollins at second to get Lobaton, and they thought they had a chance for a double play, but the exchange was just a hair short. And Gio Gonzalez will limp back to the first base bag.
Imagine Matt Williams was coming up thinking that Jimmy wasn't on the bag long enough at second base. Oh, maybe he's he's checking on Gio Gonzalez.
Yeah, he looks like he's checking on his starter. I thought Ryan Sandberg might come out and maybe challenge the play. Oh, you're right. That was close at second base. I think both calls were right. I think he was out at second.
Manchutes does a great job coming up, knowing he's going to second base. There's a good feed.
I think he was out at second. I think he was safe at first.
Yeah.
So Gonzalez looks like he's okay. And Denard Span will be the batter. Anyway, the great Bill Campbell celebrating his 91st birthday today. So, Bill, happy birthday to you. And also the great Bill Giles is celebrating a birthday today. It's always great to see Bill at the ballpark. See that smiling face. And we all wish both men a great day on a gorgeous afternoon. I'm sure both are soaking in Phillies game today. I'm sure Bill Campbell's peeking over at that Eagles game too. 1 ball and no strikes to Denard Span. Span is 0 for 2. He is struck out and he's lined out. Just a bit outside. It's 2-0. Slice into the first row of seats down the left field line. 2-1 to Span. Span 5 for 10 in this series. He is the National League leader in multi-hit games. And just a bit low. Hamels thought that was right at the knees. Takes a look in at the home plate umpire, Tom Woodring. So runners on first and second with 1 out. All right, Matt, what do you think here, bud?
A little low.
All right, what do you think, Matt?
Oh, strike, of course.
The front shot did look like it was low, but that shot looked like it was coming right across the knees. Well, now Rendon, a very dangerous hitter. He's 1 for 2. He singled his last time up. Outside and high, 1 ball, no strikes. Hamels noticeably upset at that last pitch to Span. Trying to gather himself. The runner's not being held on. Gonzalez at second. Give him credit for legging out that fielder's choice on the bunt attempt. On the inside corner, 1-1.
Now as a hitter, you're kind of confused because he's not giving that low strike. He's not giving that strike outside. But then all of a sudden he calls the high cutter inside.
Yeah. Two balls, one strike to Rendon. Fighting his command a little bit here in this fifth inning. He walks Span. And now he's fallen behind 3 balls and 1 strike to Anthony Rendon with Jason Worth on deck. Really challenged him with a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. That's basically where his fastball is topped out today, 94. Swing and a miss. He got him. 85-mile-an-hour changeup. Strikeout number 7 for Hamels. Yeah, there are 2 outs here in the 5th inning. Coming up after the game, a full recap of the road trip finale. Plus, Matt and I will break down the game on a special Pure Auto Insurance presents Phillies postgame live from right here at Nationals Park. We figured we'd put a shirt and tie on today. We might as well do a postgame show. Two outs, and now Jason Worth. He has struck out twice. Foul tip, and it's 0-1. Is that a cutter, Matt? 87?
No, that was actually a changeup.
It was a changeup.
Yeah, it was.
That's a little quicker than his changeup usually is.
With more tail to it, actually. He usually throws a straight changeup, but Jason Worth was thinking fastball. Thought wrong, got the changeup.
Worth an excellent on-base percentage. He has good numbers with runners in scoring position too. Runners lead off first and second. On the outside corner, 0-2, a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Gets a piece of it, fights it off, foul. It remains 0-2.
And that's what happens when you have a pitcher like Cole Hamels. It's a great changeup. You want to stay back as long as you can. You don't want to get fooled. Then all of a sudden you can pop that 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and that's why you see a lot of hitters late on swings.
Now the 0-2 pitch. Way upstairs, 96 on that fastball. All right, so that's the hardest fastball he's thrown today. And it's one of the hardest fastballs he's thrown
in a long
time. Remember that first day where he started uncorking the mid-90s fastballs? He hit 96 once or twice. That was about 5 or 6 weeks ago. So it's all part of his conditioning, his mechanics. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Worth. In the dirt, blocked by Ruiz. And it's even now 2-2. What are you thinking as a hitter, 2-2? Do you feel like you're back? Do you have the advantage again at 2-2?
No, not necessarily 2-2. I think usually 2-2 is usually the pitcher's going to come with his best pitch. And that's how I would approach it with 2-2. It's the same as a 3-2 count. Whatever he feels comfortable with that day throwing, 2-2 is probably what you're going to see right here. I'm thinking changeup, but we'll see.
And it is a changeup, or curveball, I should say. It was high. 3-2. An off-speed pitch. 3 balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs. The runners will be off here in the bottom of the 5th. Adam LaRoche has already homered twice. He's in the on-deck circle. Runners go. Now the pitch is hit in the air to right field, not deep. Bird battling his eyes, battling the sun, makes the catch. And that'll do it for the Nationals here in the 5th inning. No runs, 1 hit, and 2 men left. We've played 5. We'll go to the 6th. It's a 2-2 game. Group in Major League Baseball history to throw a combined no-hitter, and the first for the Phils. Hamels, Diekman, Giles, and Papelbon took turns taking the ball and retiring batters. It took 3 hours and 10 minutes to throw 147 total pitches, record 27 outs, and the Phillies' 12th no-hitter in franchise history. It's one thing to throw the 286th no-hitter in baseball. It's another to do it with total teamwork. And it's brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Oh, no-hitter today for Cole Hamels in the bullpen. They're locked in a 2-2 pitchers duel, though, as we go to the top of the 6th. Grady Sizemore is due to lead things off for the Phillies. It'll be Sizemore, Carlos Ruiz, and Marlon Byrd against Gio Gonzalez. A much different lineup today for Ryan Sandberg than what we're used to. Day game after a day game after a long road trip. And he has done this a little more often recently. Is change up his lineup, get some of his veterans out of the lineup from time to time. Today it's Chase Utley and Ryan Howard who are getting a break. Cody Ashe also getting a break. So Sizemore will lead things off. Sizemore singled and scored in the 1st inning. He has 7 hits. He has 7 hits against Gio Gonzalez and 13 at bats. These two pitchers said locked at a pitcher's duel, and their pitch counts and their splits are almost identical. They both have thrown 84 pitches. Gio 32 balls and Hamels 31 balls. 1-0 pitch. And that'll go foul. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, the Marlins are shutting out the Braves 4-0. That game's at the top of the 7th inning. Boy, if you're the Braves, you're thinking, get me out of Miami. I know they won yesterday, but they'll come here to Washington. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Julio Teheran allowed 4 earned runs on 8 hits in 5 1/3 for Atlanta in that ball game. That's low. 2-2.
Atlanta's probably wishing they could turn back the clock and go back to April again. How well they played in April.
Really. They're having trouble today with Brad Hand for the Marlins. Atlanta was 17-9 in the month of April and have basically been a 500 team since. In fact, they've been below 500 since. 3 games under. Another foul ball. Sizemore pops it up. Rendon over near the Phillies dugout. That'll be out of play. Actually, nowhere near the Phillies dugout. That's the wrong Rendon, though, for the Nationals to catch it. Down the right field line, hooking foul. The guy's all smiles. The kid is inquisitive. The guy's also getting a lot of text messages. Swing and a miss. Sizemore struck out. Well, that was a pretty good battle. It's a 9-pitch at bat, 5 different foul balls, and Gonzalez picks up the strikeout. The most popular way to follow the September pennant races is with MLB.com At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy live look-ins, replay reviews, scores, live radio broadcasts, the MLB.TV game of the day, and much more. Go to At Bat for more information. Here's Carlos, and Carlos is 1 for 2. He doubled and scored in the 4th. Carlos lines it to center. Here we go. Wasn't high enough to cause any problems with Denard's span.
No, and actually the sun shifted now. Now it's going to be the right field that might have a problem with.
Well, I guess we saw that with Marlon Byrd in the last inning, the last half inning. Ten fly ball outs for Gio Gonzalez. And Marlon Byrd, who is 2 for 2. All he needed was an off day yesterday, Matt. Came in 0 for his last 17. He's got 2 hits today. Ball and 1 strike.
Well, yesterday Marlon Byrd was working on his timing and getting his foot down early enough. And one thing that happens with guys who have leg kicks is that their leg gets caught up in the air a little too long. And by the time you get your foot down, the ball's on top of you, and that's why you feel rushed.
Over toward the hole, backhanded by Desmond. And he throws Marlon Byrd out, so another 1-2-3 inning for Gio Gonzalez. He's retired 9 consecutive hitters. And we played 5.5. It's time for the bottom of the 6th inning here in Washington, D.C. in the 2-2 ball game. Baseball is brought to you by Delaware Valley Honda. Visit your local Delaware Valley Honda dealer or shop honda.com. By Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. And by Toyota. Where will Toyota take you? Visit buyatoyota.com to find out. Toyota, let's go places. Home half of the 6th inning. We're tied at 2. Cole Hamels had allowed just one home run to a left-hander coming into today's ball game. Well, he's allowed 2 today to the guy that's strolling to the plate. A little country music blaring in the background. Out on the road, home runs number 22 and 23 today. First time this year that Hamels has allowed a multi-home run game. Last time he allowed somebody to do that was Evan Gattis in September of last year. Below the knees, 2-0. I don't think I've ever seen Alan LaRoche see the ball this well against Cole Hamels.
I think it's very good swings, but it is the fact that he's getting fastballs inner half, which is his strength.
Well, he does have 6 career home runs now against Hamels. Not too many lefties are able to say that. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Right-hander Blake Treinen is warming up in the bullpen for the Nationals. And now the 2-2 pitch from Hamels. A high fly ball into right field. It's going to stay in the yard. Byrd is really fighting the sun, and he makes the catch. All right, without being out there to roll around with Marlon Byrd, that looked like the right technique.
It was. He got behind it. He got the glove up early. Because eventually, well, you're hoping that ball comes under sun. But as soon as this ball, which, by the way, Adam LaRoche just missed, the glove goes up early. He's moving to his left. And all of a sudden he comes back a little bit to the right and has a good angle at it.
Look at Freddie Galvis. Look how far Galvis went just to make sure he was there in case there was a problem. There's a fair ball by Desmond down into the corner. And Sizemore will get it in and hold Desmond to a second double of the game. Well, he went looking for a first pitch. And he got the first pitch that he wanted. And now Scott Hairston will come up. He's 0 for 2.
Well, Ian Desmond's a very aggressive hitter. He's supposed to be pitched low and away, and it comes back in the middle of the plate. Being a very aggressive hitter and being prepared for a mistake pitch, and that's what happened. That's why he drove it down the left field line for an easy double.
Hairston has flied to left, and he is struck out. He is not coming to the plate with country music blaring like Adam LaRoche. Fastball at 95. It's 0-1. Kind of interesting. Trinan is now sat down in the bullpen. He was warming up for a minute. Now he's down in the Nationals pen. Phillies bullpen quiet as well. They have the 0-1 pitch coming to Hairston. Way outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Every time the Phillies pitchers retire, the opposition 1-2-3. And Cole Hamels has had 1-1-2-3 inning. That was the first. Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. And a balk is called on Cole Hamels. That'll allow Desmond to go to third. Hamels wants an explanation from Chad Fairchild, the first base umpire. Ryan Sandberg's on the top step of the dugout. Ruiz made sure he called time. Now Chad Fairchild just explained to Hamels that he needs to make 1 complete move around. Otherwise it's a balk. All right, let's watch. So that hesitation right there is what Fairchild is saying is a balk. We've seen Hamels do that move
every time.
Every time. Now the hesitation as he was starting to turn. There's a fly ball deep to left field. Sizemore going back toward the fence. He has room, makes the catch. Desmond tags from third, and he'll score. And the Nationals take the lead. So the balk has led to a sacrifice fly. And an RBI for Hairston, his 8th of the year. Here's Fairchild talking to Hamels, and he's basically saying that it wasn't one consistent motion, that there was a hesitation. You know, I can't say that I saw it, Matt. There's a line drive base hit to left field. We have watched Cole Hamels with that move over and over and over again. You know, the basic premise of a balk is that you can't deceive the runner. I don't think there was any deception of the runner there. I mean, Desmond went right back to the bag. It's been more than 2 years since Hamels last balked. Maybe he has a better angle than we do looking at Hamels, and you know, that little hesitation. Lobatone takes outside. 1 ball, no strikes. So it's 3-2 Washington on the sac fly by Hairston. And the Nationals now have 7 hits. Take a look again. that little subtle almost jump. You know, as he turns, he paused and then jumps. I still, you know, you can watch that over and over again. And if you watch it at real time speed while you're watching a game, I don't know if I'd be able to pick that up. Now the right field line.
And you might go another 3 or 4 series or next 3 outings. He might do the exact same move and they won't call it.
Yeah. Runner goes. Pitch is swung on and missed. The throw to second base is not in time. Galvis took that throw in front of the bag and then kind of slowly brought the tag back. And Cabrera was able to pick up the stolen base.
It's a great throw by Chooch, but you got to get back on that bag and receive the ball back closer to the bag.
And then bam.
So it's just a drop down tag.
Yeah.
Instead of a catch and then a swipe tag.
2-2 pitch. Yeah, because the swipe by Galvis was a very casual swipe.
And like you said, you catch it and you go bang. Like right there. See how he catches it out front? And now it's a tag. Instead of backing up a little bit, straddling the second base and catching it and going straight down with the tag.
I know we always talk about Chase Utley, that Chase does this, Chase does that, but Chase gets it and bam.
Yep.
This is the 100th pitch coming for Hamels. And now Ruiz out to talk to Cole. Well, we've had an interesting ball game today. We've had 2 interpretations of the rule that has first led to the Phils not getting a run, and second in this inning eventually led to the Nationals getting a run. And you could probably go months without seeing either interpretation again. 2-2 pitch to Lobaton, and he fouls it again down the right field line. Kevin Franzen's out on the on-deck circle to pinch hit for the Nationals.
Well, I guess everything's happening in 2s today. 2 calls, 2 balls lost in the sun, 2 home runs hit by La Roche.
Over to third, diving stop. Franco to his feet, and he zips the throw over in time. And that nails Jose Lobaton. 1 run on 2 hits, 1 balk, and a sac fly. And the Nationals have taken the lead. A little defense from Maikel Franco over third, quickly to his feet and over to first. Time now for your local Honda dealers game summary, where the Nationals lead the Phils 3-2 as we go to the top of the 7th inning. Cole Hamels has gone 6 innings so far. He's allowed 7 hits and 3 earned runs. The Nationals have hit some BBs against him today, but he still is down by only 1 as we go to the 7th. Gio Gonzalez has been good. He's allowed 1 earned run and 4 hits, 3 strikeouts, and he's still in there. Bryce Harper comes into the ball game to play left field for the Nationals, so he's on for Hairston. And Darren Ruff will lead it off for the Phils here in the 7th inning. Gonzalez has retired 9 in a row. Phillies down by 1, and you know, the way the ball has been jumping off the Nationals' bat today, they're probably fortunate down by 1 run. Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike. It'll be Ruff, Franco, and Galvis. Those are the scheduled hitters for the Phillies. And now 3-1 to Darren. Ruff has a sacrifice fly. That was back in the 4th inning. He's also lined out to center, as you see Thornton and Barrett. Barrett's the righty, Thornton's the lefty for the Nationals. Out toward right field. That'll slice out of play. 3-2 to Ruff.
Nice job by Darren. Found off a nasty changeup blown away.
And a line drive base hit to left field for Darren Ruff. So he's aboard. The ball is kicked for a moment by Harper. So a leadoff single here in the 7th. Phillies fans, Greg Luzinski will be at Citizens Bank Park on Wednesday for Cholesterol Awareness Night, sponsored by AstraZeneca. AstraZeneca will offer free cholesterol screenings at the game for adults 18 and older from 5:05 to 8 p.m. Join us at Cholesterol Awareness Night and get to know your numbers. That'll be it for Gio Gonzalez. He's done after 6+ innings. Gets a nice round of applause from the Nationals fans. So pitching change here in the 7th inning. The Phillies down by 1, and they're into the Nationals pen. plays of the game. All right, Matt, what do you got for us?
Well, comes back in the first inning. Nice diving catch by Grady Sizemore off of Rendon's base ball hit the left field. Franco makes a very nice diving catch to his left last inning versus Lobaton. Knows that your defensive plays the game, brought to you by Hyundai.
We've also seen some difficult defensive plays thanks to the sun out in the outfield. Both center fielders. Gio Gonzalez goes 6+ innings, 5 hits. The runner at first is his responsibility. No walks and 3 strikeouts. Phillies have Antonio Bastardo warming up in the bullpen. Here's Aaron Barrett, his 44th game. Barrett 3-0, an ERA of 3.09. He's allowed only 1 home run in 35 innings out of the pen. As Maikel Franco, who's 0 for 2, will be the batter. Franco is 1 for 10 so far in his big league career. Darren Ruff takes his lead off first. Drops in the first pitch for a strike. It's 0-1. Fooled on that pitch, and it's no balls and 2 strikes. Phillies have held the upper hand as far as the bullpen goes in the season series between the two teams. No balls and 2 strikes, and he pulls that one to third. That could be 2. Rendon to second for 1. Man, did he put a lot on that throw to second base. It's an around the horn 5-4-3 double play. And 2 outs here in the 7th.
Gets a slider out in front. Like you said, he throws a missile to Cabrera at second base. Gives him a chance to get out of the way and roll double play very easily.
Well, Gonzalez like that. You can close the line on Gio Gonzalez. 2 runs, 1 earned. That's it. Here's Freddie Galvis, who's 0 for 2. He's grounded to short. He's also popped out to short. And it's 0-1 to Galvis. Barrett pitched in just 10 games down in the minor leagues before being added to the Nationals roster again. Made the Nationals opening day roster. And then went down to the minor leagues. The end of July, he was scuffling somewhat, even though his ERA was just a hair over 3. They sent him back down. He pitched a little bit for AAA and then just was called up when the rosters expanded on the 1st of September. And Galvis waves at the 1-2 pitch. No runs, 1 hit, and nobody left. Go to the bottom of the 7th, and that's up by 1. The ball game for the Phils as we start the home seventh. As we promised earlier in the game, we have our AT&T fan photo of the game. And this one comes from Sav Sites 98, a weekend in Pittsburgh. There are a lot of Phillies fans who made their way to Pittsburgh to join the Phils on the 4th of July weekend. Tweet your photo to #PhillyFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in an upcoming game broadcast. Brought to you by AT&T. Well, as Cole Hamels warms up on the mound, let's go over to Murph with the Major League Notebook. Murph?
All right, Tom, it's brought to you by Gwinnett Mercy University. And just one thing on the Major League Notebook today, because what a celebration they had in New York City today. It is Derek Jeter Day, and officially, because the mayor of New York City has announced that September 7th, 2014 is Derek Jeter Day. All kinds of dignitaries at the game, including Cal Ripken Jr. He was there. Dave Winfield, who was Jeter's idol growing up. Michael Jordan as well. He got all kinds of gifts. They also made a donation in $222,222.22 to the Derek Jeter Foundation. And Jeter spoke to the crowd and he said, "I've had the best job for the last 20 years, and I just want to say thank you." So a very special day at Yankee Stadium this morning, guys.
Yeah, the Yankees are wearing the commemorative patches honoring Derek Jeter throughout this weekend. The reason they did it today, Murph, according to the newspaper reports on the celebration, is the Yankees feel like they're still within reach in the division or the wild card, whatever it is, and they felt like the later home games would put just a little additional pressure on Jeter. So doing it now means that if they do have any life in the race later on, there's no worry about the celebration. It is remarkable that his career is coming to a close, though. Kevin Franzen leads it off. It's no balls and 1 strike. Look out. Franzen's bat went flying and then bouncing into the seating area. And it bounced right into that gentleman's hands.
Cutter inside, and there she goes.
He can win some bat tosses. I think Kevin just said, "God, keep the bat." I think. I know he got another one, but he keeps looking over his shoulder. I think he wants to make sure everybody's okay too. That's a right center field. Tony Gwynn Jr. is under it. Good. One gone here in the 7th. Now Denard Span will come up.
Comes back to the conversation you had earlier in the game. My thought process of putting a net all the way around to the third base side or the first base side of the dugouts.
How far would you go, though? Would you go past the dugouts, maybe 15, 20 feet?
No, I'd go right to the edge of the dugout.
Right to the edge of the dugout?
Yeah. Broken bats, bats thrown, foul balls.
Surprised they don't do it. Not that I'm not saying they don't do it here, but I'm surprised they don't do it more in the minor leagues, where you're a little closer to the action. At least it seems that way. Tyler Clippard is in the bullpen warming up for the Nationals here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Phillies will have the bottom of the order due up against the Nats bullpen in the top of the 8th. Inside, 1 ball and 1 strike to Span. Well, 108 pitches, just like his last time out. Last time out, though, he didn't allow any hits, and he wound up walking 5. The Nationals have put some good swings on Hamels here today. 2 balls and 1 strike to Span. Same pitch, and it's 3-1. Ball 4. Boy, Hamels is not happy with the home plate umpire. He's letting his emotions show. He said something to him as he went down toward the grass area in front of the mound. Bob McClure is going to come out as well. A walk to Span. No, McClure is going to stop. Now he's going to come out. Carlos had to bring it back. You saw the shoulders of Hamels flinch a little bit from the back.
I thought the two previous pitches to that, prior to that pitch, were better area, better location.
Bob McClure out to give Hamels a moment, and now Tom Woodring is going to head out to the mounds. But I believe Bob is saying something to Woodring right now. You don't see this that often anymore. Bob is definitely questioning the balls and strikes. Woodring is giving him a little bit of room to have this conversation. Mike Everett, the third base umpire and crew chief, started walking in.
That is probably the only way in baseball you can question strikes and balls is by visiting the mound and having a nice little conversation.
Bob didn't get heated at all.
No.
Honestly, though, we haven't seen that often this year, where a coach will wait or a manager will wait. Some managers have had some great ejections in those kind of situations. Some coaches too. Throw over to first, and Span, who has 28 stolen bases, gets back. There have been a handful of pitches today that Cole has been upset about. Will he do it again?
I hope so.
Stardo is joined by Adams in the bullpen for the Phillies. He did do it again. A little different look this time.
What do you think? One more time?
Why not? Nope. Balls at one strike.
I thought maybe he figured if you weren't going to call strikes, I'm going to keep on throwing to first.
Well, you think about it more and more. Inside, 1-1.
What would they do if you kept on throwing over and over? You get to about 15, 16 in a row.
Nothing they can do. There'd be a lot of boos going on. In fact, maybe even some of the folks who are rooting for you would boo too. Boy, he overpowered him with that. 1-2 to Anthony Rendon. One ball, two strikes to Rendon. Phillies set up to try to turn two. Rollins at short. Galvis at second. And that one is pulled foul down the left field line. On the Toyota Major League Scoreboard, a look at the National League Central, where the St. Louis Cardinals are holding on to a 4-game lead over the Brewers, and they may be building on that today. Bottom of the 6th inning, Cardinals 4 and the Brewers nothing. Milwaukee is still in the wild card hunt. They're currently tied with Atlanta for the 2nd wild card spot. One ball and 2 strikes to Rendon. Just a little high. It's 2-2.
How about the lead in the American League National in the wild card? Oakland has a 2-game lead on Seattle and only 3.5 on the 3rd place Detroit now.
Yep. And Cleveland's 4.5 back. So are the Yankees. We'll talk about trades and how trades could be helpful or they could be disruptive. At this point, you have to call the Cespedes for Lester trade disruptive for the Oakland A's because they haven't been able to manage much offense. Now Dunn has helped. He's hit 2 home runs since they acquired him. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Rendon here in the bottom of the 7th. There goes Span, pitches outside, throw to second base, and he is safe at second. Stolen base number 29 for Denard Span, and it's full to Anthony Rendon with 1 out.
He gets a pretty good jump, and Chooch throws a strong throw, but it just seems like Freddie Galvis was late getting there, catching the ball 3 or 4 feet in front of second base.
He did get a good jump, though. You're right. All right, let's see what he does with Rendon now. 3 balls and 2 strikes with Worth on deck. Inside and low, ball 4. Runners on first and second with 1 man down. Back-to-back walks for Hamels. And that'll be it for Cole. Ryan Sandberg is coming out. They're going to go to the bullpen. They have Adams and Bastardo both warming up at the pen for the Phils. So a pitching change here at Nationals Park. The Phillies trail it by 1. The Nationals, though, have 2 runners on with 1 man down. .30 years old or older. It's a chance of a lifetime to take part in a week-long camp with some of your favorite Phillies of all time. Greg Luzinski, John Kruk, Mike Lieberthal, Bob Boone, Mickey Morandini, even the commish Larry Anderson will be at the Carpenter Complex from January 21st to the 25th. You can call 610-520-3400 for more information. Mike Adams will be the new pitcher for the Phils here in the bottom of the 7th inning with 1 man down. Adams is on with runners on first and second. And he will face Jason Worth. And then Adam LaRoche is up next. Antonio Bastardo may be there for him. So this may be just one batter for Mike Adams. They decide to go to Adams here in the 7th inning. Worth is 0 for 3. Since the 13th of July, he's hit .336 against right-handers. First pitch, low. 1 ball and no strikes.
Well, Adams got to make sure that he keeps an eye on Span at second base, so he doesn't allow him to steal third base very easily. Make him stop.
Right there, as he was leaning a little bit.
He was.
Rendon not being held on over at first base, so he'll get a jump right after. Two balls and no strikes to Worth. Throws a slider for a strike. It's 2-1. Over 24 attempts of third for Denard Span. Three balls and one strike. LaRoche is on deck. Bastardo's ready for him. That's 3 times now that Mike Adams has made sure that he's turned back towards second base. Out towards shortstop, that should be 2. There's 1, and quickly over to first in time. A 6-4-3 double play. Mike Adams thrown into the fire, and he's able to pick up Cole Hamels. A scoreless bottom of the 7th for the Nationals. We'll go to the 8th. It's 3-2 Washington. store for the ride of your life and save big today. By AT&T, mobilizing your world. And by Chevrolet, visit your local dealer at ChevyDealer.com. And the Phillies trail at 3-2. And as we go to the top of the 8th inning, Tyler Clippard will be the new pitcher. Clippard 7-3, an ERA of 2.04. All right, now this is going to set up the 9th inning, which, you know, we look at Clippard here in the 8th, and this answers part of the question: who's going to close for the Nationals if they have the lead? It's not going to be Clippard today, although it's supposed to be bullpen by committee, according to Matt Williams. I thought that meant that it would be Clippard to start, and Storen would be in Clippard's role, but who knows who Matt Williams is going to use. It could depend on the matchups. The Phillies are going to send some lefties up here. They'll have Ben Revere to lead things off as a pinch hitter. And Revere looks like he'll be followed by Dominic Brown, who's in the on-deck circle. Phillies have some left-handed power coming off the bench. They have Utley and Howard. Potential power, Utley and Howard.
Revere.
And Ben Revere, that's right. I forgot about Ben, who does have a home run in this series. First pitch is over. It's 0-1. Ben on the year hitting .314, 2 home runs, 23 runs batted in. Today was the first day since the end of July, the 26th of July, that he didn't start. Takes upstairs, 1-1. Phillies just looking for a base runner. The Nationals bullpen has not been as magical as some other division leading bullpens, particularly toward the back end. Now Clippard's been very good for them. 2 balls and 2 strikes. I don't even see Soriano out in the bullpen.
They say he was taking a break for a couple of days, working on mechanics, and watch some video.
Watch some video. Yep. For the next couple of days, according to Matt Williams.
Just watching the video will lock you in, I guess.
There's Storen. They could use him. He's closed before. Now the 2-2 pitch to Revere. Just a bit low. It's 3-2. And Ben lines it out towards center field. That'll drop in for a base hit. A pinch hit single for Revere. The tying run is aboard here in the 8th inning. And now Chase Utley will be the pinch hitter. So Ben doesn't start today, but does pick up a hit as a pinch hitter. He'll stay in the ball game to play center field for Tony Gwynn. And now Chase Utley, not Dominic Brown. It'll be Chase Utley who will pinch hit. Phillies now with 6 hits. Utley is pinch hitting for Adams, so the Phillies go back to their bullpen in the bottom of the 8th inning. Outside, 1-0.
It could be the strongest bench that I've seen in a long time. You got a Revere leading off, Utley, Ashe, Howard, Brown. If you want Nieves up there.
What about Cesar Hernandez and
Cesar
Andres
Hernandez, Blanco?
Don't forget those guys, man. You got to include everybody.
Cameron Root. But everybody.
Throw over to first. Diving back is Revere. Now Ben tied with Josh Harrison, who did not play today for the Pirates, or hasn't played. Pirates are leading the Cubs 8-1. Posey who has jumped into this race because he's been smoking hot.
3 for 3 last night.
Yeah, he'll play later on tonight against the Tigers. That's the national game. 1 ball, no strikes to Utley. And Utley hits it down the left field line. Harper on the run and out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. Utley's numbers in his career as a pinch hitter. Worth is deep in right field. Harper not as deep in the offside. And Span is a couple steps over toward left center for Utley. Revere kind of shortened his lead there for a moment. 1 ball and 1 strike. And Utley pops it up. Over towards shortstop. Desmond makes the call. Now 1 out. Derek Gunn and Reuben Frank are going to have a lot to talk about with the premiere of Quick Slants, which will take place tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Comcast Sportsnet. They'll serve up their extensive football knowledge. It'll be 5 nights a week. The Eagles were down 17-0 in their game to the Jaguars and now lead it 27-17 with less than 2 minutes to play in the 4th quarter. So it starts tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and it will air each and every weeknight. We'll talk about the Jaguars game, and then they'll look ahead to the next matchup for the Eagles. Probably discuss some fumble issues for Nick Foles. He seemed to rebound in the second half. 1 ball and no strikes to Jimmy Rollins. Anybody in the Philadelphia area knows that Gunner's been covering the Eagles for Comcast Sportsnet for a long time. Reuben Frank, over 25 years covering the Eagles. 1 ball, 1 strike to Rollins. Rollins today is 0 for 3. He's grounded out 3 times. One's to short, one's to second, one's to third. Kind of interesting. It's not often that you see the first baseman walk over to the pitcher after a pickoff throw and have a conversation about it. I don't know what they could be talking about.
Well, it could have been he might have thought he got the tag in before he got his hand back. Give him time to look at some instant replay.
1 ball, 1 strike to Rollins. That could be it. Maybe win and say, hey, let's try that 1 more time. Revere goes. The pitch is in the dirt. The throw to second on 1 hop, and he is safe at second base. Ben Revere has another stolen base. He's in scoring position.
picks a changeup down the dirt. Gets in there, the tag got him on the lower back, but he went in there hard. Look at him blocking the base, Desmond.
Yeah, I think that's why Desmond thought he had him, but Revere was able to get to the bag, I think. And now here comes Matt Williams. After a little bit of a delay, Williams is going to come out. They may ask Adrian Johnson to challenge this one. I mean, at this point in the ball game, you're in the top of the 8th inning. They figure, why not? All right, let's take a look again. Desmond did block the bag. He applies the tag. I don't know where the hand is for Revere. It looked like Revere's hand did get inside the leg of Desmond. All right, watch it here. I think he's on the bag there. Either way, I don't think there's enough to overturn this. Another look. And the hand, yeah, he's on the bag. That's a great job by Revere to avoid the leg of Ian Desmond. So what we've seen up here leads us to believe that Revere is safe at second base. Oh, they just called him out. Wow. Well, they must have a different view than we do. Or maybe they didn't look at it the exact way we did. The call is overturned. Ryan Sandberg can't argue that. Now, we have our replay that we show. They have at their disposal the Nationals replay too, which maybe there's a different look that we didn't see. See right there, hand is on the bag, and then the tag is made. Matt, he's safe.
He is safe.
I think that's a bad call. I think that's a bad overturn. That's remarkable that they would call it that way. Again, we don't have everything that they have at their disposal. But our replays showed that his hand was on the bag before the tag. Ball 4. And Rollins is aboard with 2 outs. I think that's the first time this year we could definitively, or I can definitively say, Matt, I don't know how you feel about it, that replay made the wrong call on a play like that. We've seen plays at the plate where, I think they've made the wrong call where they've said that the catcher blocked the plate when he didn't. The other thing is that they called it so fast. Sizemore is now the batter. Sizemore is 1 for 3. Up high, 1 ball, no strikes. That took 46 seconds. And I am absolutely shocked that they called him out. If anything, I would have thought inconclusive. There goes Rollins, and then he stopped. The check swing, slow roller. That's a fair ball. And Sizemore is going to be out. The Phillies will be retired here in the 8th inning. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. Middle of the 8th here in D.C. A couple of odd calls here today that have not gone the Phillies' way. They trail it by 1. score. The Nationals lead it by 1, 3-2 as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning here in Washington, D.C. Some of the particulars: Ian Desmond has a couple doubles today and a run scored. Adam LaRoche, though, with 2 home runs. 2 solo home runs against Cole Hamels. That's part of the reason why the Nationals have the lead. Well, here's a look at our W.B. Mason deliveries of the game. The 2 home runs.
And the first one came back in the second inning. Fastball inside. Adam LaRoche drops the barrel and drives it into the bullpen. Then the 4th inning, almost identical pitch, drives the ball to right center. Both being fastballs and both being inside to where his strength is. That is why the deliveries of the game brought to you by W.B. Mason.
All right, so Adam LaRoche will lead things off, and he'll lead it off against Antonio Bastardo as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Ed Revere stays in the ball game to play center field after singling and then being thrown out trying to steal. After a play that was reviewed, 46 seconds, which wasn't a long period of time, but you have to also build in the fact that they waited for Matt Williams to come out, and they could have reviewed it at that point. Here's the slow-mo and the impact right there on the bag, and the tag. Boy, I still think he was on the second base bag. See the impact on the bag, just the sort of bounce of the bag, and then the tag made. Pitch is down low, 1 ball, no strikes. Watch the movement of the bag there, and then the tag. Now his arm did come off the bag, but Desmond did not have the tag on him. Again, it's interpretation. We're trying to look at it as objectively as possible. It's really close. See, this is the one where I thought his hand is there and the tag wasn't on his behind. Would you agree with that, Matt?
That's the perfect angle right there.
That to me was more of a definitive look than even the other one, the slow-mo. Two balls and no strikes to LaRoche. He's 2 for 3. On the outside corner, 2-1. The other thing is watching down in the Phillies dugout when they called out, the total shock and surprise by everybody. I mean, they can't argue it, but they were stunned.
Well, you can argue.
You can, but you can you can be ejected from the ball game. 3 balls, 1 strike. Three and 1. The pitch is fouled. It's 3-2. May of 2013, the last 3 home run game. We just saw Storin starting to throw in the bullpen for the Nationals, so it looks like he's going to get the nod to be the closer here this afternoon. There's Drew Storin, who before Soriano arrived was the closer for the Nationals. 3 balls, 2 strikes to LaRoche. And a called strike 3. 1 out here in the 8th inning.
It's a good location on the fastball. On the corner. Adam LaRoche kind of looked like he got fooled a little bit, and he was kind of hoping that home plate umpire would have missed the call.
Well, now with 1 out, here's Desmond. Desmond has doubled twice. He has scored the go-ahead run. A strike by Bastardo. It's 0-1. Good velocity today, good movement, good location. Had a slider. It's 0-2. By the way, for the Phillies, they'll have Ruiz, Bird, and Ruff. Those are the scheduled hitters to face Story at the top of the 9th inning. No balls and 2 strikes.
Very good velocity, 94 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Downhill. Bottom of the strike zone.
He's got Desmond, and then he's got Harper, who is scheduled to bat next. He came on to replace Hairston out in left field. One ball, 2 strikes. The dirt, 2-2. Well, this is another look that we just were able to put together on that play at second base. It comes from the Nationals feed. And is his hand on the bag or not? It's tough to tell. I mean, I guess that's the one they used and thought that his hand wasn't on the bag. And his hand looks like it is off the bag on that one. Doesn't it? What do you think, Matt?
It looked like his hand was laying
on the bag?
Up against the bag.
Yeah. I don't think that's a definitive look, but that could be the one that they were using. I mean, again, they have at the disposal our shots and the other team's shots, in this case, the Nationals. One of the 2 shots that were fed down were the definitive look that made them decide that Revere was not on the bag. Swing and a miss. Desmond has struck out. Back-to-back Ks for Bastardo. And they're 2 outs. And now now Harper batting in Hairston's spot. He came on to play left field a couple innings ago. Batting for the first time, hitting .271, 11 home runs, 29 runs batted in. To the screen, it's 0-1. Phillies trying to keep this at a 1-run deficit and have a chance against the shaky back end of the Nationals bullpen. It's up to Bastardo to try to do that here. No balls and 1 strike to Harper. Just a little low, 1-1. Two balls and 2 strikes.
I was talking to Nieves today on the bus, and he was saying this is the time of game like yesterday started at 4 o'clock, that the shadows, and as a hitter, you see no rotation of the ball because the batter's eye is tough to see. You have the shadows, the pitcher's in the sunlight to start with. He says, you're just hoping you guess right.
It's not a very comfortable feel.
No, it's not.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Harper. Let's hope he guesses wrong here. And he fouls it away. It remains 2-2.
It'd be so hard to figure out the speed coming in if it's a fastball or changeup. Now, curveball, slider, you might be able to see because it's going to have the natural break. But for someone who has a good changeup, you have a lot of underwater swings.
Down and away, 3-2. Cabrera is on deck. This is Bastardo's inning. Nobody else warming up with the pen. This is not a shock considering Bastardo's always been used against righties and lefties. His role may have changed a couple of times throughout the course of this year. He's got the first 2 outs on strikeouts, trying to get a 3rd out here at the bottom of the 8th inning. Just a bit low, and I guess inside. Ball 4. Harper draws a 2-out walk. Boy, that's a close pitch to take with 2 strikes. And now is Drupal Cabrera. That looked a little low.
A little low.
Yep.
He hasn't called it all night. I'll play umpire.
No, it's true. Cabrera flied out to right his first time up, struck out his second time, and then singled in the 6th inning. Takes a stroll out to the mound. He's trying to get Bastardo back on track. Antonio's looked very strong, or at least looked very strong with those first 2 batters that he faced. He wound up walking Harper in a couple of close pitches. Two balls, no strikes. Fouls it back. It's 2-1. Lobaton is on deck for the Nationals.
I'd like to see him throw over to first base one time just to keep Harper close at first base. Don't forget about him over there.
Yeah, Harper's not the same base runner that he was his first year or two, but he still can run. I think Ruiz is getting a little frustrated now behind the plate. I think the bench is asking him if the pitch was over the plate or not, because from their vantage point, they can see whether it comes across the knees. 3 balls, 1 strike. And he fouls it back, so Harper will be off and running. The count is 3-2.
Well, a lot of times, instead of having the manager, the pitching coach, holler out to the catcher to find out where it was located. The catcher will automatically maybe the top of his helmet, or to pick up some dirt. That's relaying signs back to the bench saying if it was a strike or a ball.
Interesting. Does one mean?
I mean, it could be. I mean, they might use the top of the helmet. Yes, it was a strike. If I rub the dirt, it might be a ball.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Harper inches off. He'll go. Pitch is fouled back, so we'll do it again.
If he touches the top of his helmet and rubs the dirt, he's telling this guy's terrible. No.
All these different signs we didn't know about.
Yeah, there's a lot of signs that go on.
It can change the whole complexion of watching a game. Harper goes again, and the pitch is popped foul behind home plate. And it remains 3 balls and 2 strikes to Asdrubal Cabrera. The Phillies' 9th inning. It'll be Ruiz, Bird, and Ruff with plenty of firepower still on the bench for the Phils. For the 3rd time, the 3-2 pitch. Up high, ball 4, and that'll put runners on first and second. So back-to-back walks by Bastardo, and Lobatone will be the hitter. Well, you got the first 2 hitters with strikeouts. Walked the last 2 batters. Don't forget, coming up right after the ball game, Matt and I will break down this game a little bit more. Phillies post-game live, presented by Cure Auto Insurance. Jose Lobatone 1 for 3. Grounded out a couple times, singled in the 5th. Brothers lead off first and second. 1 ball, no strikes.
I think the first 2 hitters that he faced with the strikeouts, he was very aggressive in the strike zone. Throwing the fastball, throwing the slider. And now all of a sudden, once he got to Bryce Harper, I think he's trying to be too fine and too nitpicky on the corners instead of being aggressive and going after the hitter.
Ruiz will throw behind Harper, and he gets back. It's 2-0. Harper was way off that second base bag. One ball and 1 strike. Tied up Lobatone. See the home plate umpire holding up 1 and 2. The scoreboard was reading wrong. That was the universal sign. It's, everywhere you go, minor league, major league, the umpires are aware of what's going on the big board. Fly ball, right center field. Bird shading his eyes from the sun, puts it away. And the Nationals leave a couple here in the 8th inning. So that sets up the top of the 9th inning for Carlos Ruiz, Marlon Bird, and Darren Ruff. With the Phillies down by 1, Drew Storen will come in for the Nats.
To the top of the ninth, Phil's hoping to get at least one and keep this one going as they finish up here in Washington, D.C. After this game, Phil's hop on a train, head back to Philadelphia, and start a 4-game series with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Starting on Monday, Jeff Block taking on Kyle Kendrick. On Tuesday, Edison Volquez will take on the right-hander David Buchanan. On Wednesday, it's Vance Worley getting the ball for the Pirates, taking on Jerome Williams and his 3-0 record. And then on Thursday at 7:05, Francisco Liriano and A.J. Burnett will take the ball for the two teams. A 4-game set against the Pittsburgh Pirates. But guys, this one's not over yet.
No, because the Nationals bullpen has not been rock solid in the 9th inning, and that's why Drew Storen, their former closer, has taken over, at least for the time being, and at least in this ball game, as the closer for Rafael Soriano. Soren was drafted in the first round the same year the Nationals took Steven Strasburg. And he quickly made it to the big leagues in 2011 as the closer, 43 saves. And then in 2012, he saved only 4 games. Last year, saved 3. And he saved 1 here this year, now 26 years old. An ERA of 1.37. He'll face Ruiz to start it off. And Carlos takes on the inside corner. It's 0-1. Carlos taking a walk. 3 for 9 against Storen. One ball and 1 strike. Matt Williams obviously has his thoughts on what he wants from a closer. He said Soriano's going to get a couple days off. I really thought it was going to be Clippard that they would put in this spot, even though Storen's done it before.
Yeah, but Clippard's been he's done such a great job in that 8th inning role that maybe wants Storen to do it.
Well, that's a good point. You don't want to disrupt 2 roles out of the bullpen. It's not that's a good point. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Up and then slider that backs up, and Chooch has been hit in the head once before. We don't need that again.
Nope. Two balls and 2 strikes. Outside, 3-2. Bird is on deck. Phil's trying to sweep the series. They've already won the series for the Nationals. Get a little bit more here. And Carlos breaks his bat out toward left field. Here comes Harper, and he makes the running grab. Went away. Here's Marlon Byrd. Byrd is 2 for 3. Ryan Howard has come out in the on-deck circle to pinch hit for Darren Ruff. That one's over. It's 0-1.
Drew Strong must have complete confidence in his slider. For a guy that throws 95, 94, his slider's more of a slurve. It has that little downhill action to the side.
Bird floats it down the right field line, foul. Yeah, you would think that there'd be more, he'd throw more fastballs.
Right, which tells me that he doesn't trust his fastball.
Yeah. You know, we said 43 saves the 1 year for the Nationals. They still felt like they needed to go out and get a more seasoned closer in Rafael Soriano, even though he's just 26 years old. Third fouls it off. Ryan Howard fields it off the net.
They probably figured if they went up and got a really good closer. Now all of a sudden the game shortens to 6th inning, and you can go Drew in the 7th, Flipper in the 8th, and the closer in the 9th. Whatever it's going to be.
That's basically what they've been doing. The ball's in 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. 2 outs. Bird's down on strikes. And one last chance for the Phils. Ryan Howard is going to pinch hit. Howard will pinch hit. Dominic Brown in the on-deck circle. Here's the trust in that slider.
Man, this is probably the best one he threw the day so far. Is a hard slider. Has that little pause. There's that rotation we're talking about, hard to pick up coming from the pitcher.
So now with 2 men down, Ryan Howard will be the hitter. Howard so far in this series has an 2-run single. That was in yesterday's ball game. 1 home run. In fact, 4 RBIs. Batting for Darren Ruff. Ruff had an RBI today. Outside, 1-0.
First pitch changeup.
Mixing it up a little bit.
Which we talked of. What's he throwing the changeup off of? It's your first time facing him. Nothing.
Outside corner. 1-1. Fastball that got the outer edge. Oh, now we can say that's a ball. Questioning the men in blue here today in this ball game for the Phils. And each of the umpires have been involved in some of the calls that have been their interpretation and the interpretation of the folks in New York. 2 balls and 1 strike. And on the pitch. Slider. Howard was out front. It's 2-2. Howard reaches. You figure Cesar Hernandez will come out and pitch run for him. Dominic Brown is on deck. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Final game of this 3-game series. And Howard swings over the top of the slider, and the ball game is over. The Nationals are able to salvage this 3-game series with a 3-2 victory as Drew Storen steps back into his role as closer to finish off the Phils 1-2-3 here in the 9th inning. Well, here's the last out. Matt, you said he loves his slider, and he certainly threw it enough in this inning.
Yeah, he just got Ryan Howard swimming over top of it. Good location on the pitch. 2 out of 3 is not bad.
Yeah, the Phillies won the series, and they lose this one by 1. They certainly had opportunities to add to their run total. But Adam LaRoche's 2 solo home runs against Cole Hamels negated the single runs the Phillies scored each time to take the lead here this afternoon. He is our